I hear rumors that the Dreamcast died in the early 2000s. Well, if you've been paying attention to the homebrew or indie scene, you really wouldn't know the Dreamcast was dead, as it has been home to some truly excellent shmups over the last couple of years. And thanks to HuCast, we now have Dux 1.5. This is sort of a revision of the first version of Dux, which was released for the Dreamcast back in 2009. Dux is a horizontal spaceship shooter, shmup if you will, that plays similarly to R-Type, in that you have a big power pod that floats in front of your ship. Now you can throw that out in front of you in order to destroy enemy crafts that are slowly starting to gang up on you, or it's used in the bullet absorption system. And the way this works is the more bullets you basically run into, the more your bullet absorption meter builds up. That's that meter you see on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. And at any point in time, you can press the R button on the Dreamcast controller. That's the default, but you can change it. And what will happen is you enter bullet soaking mode, and this basically absorbs every single bullet that's on the screen at that particular time. However, not all bullets can be absorbed. There are certain lasers you'll still have to avoid, and there's environmental objects that also will have to be dodged if you plan to make it anywhere in this game. You also have access to Mega Man's Mega Buster. It's sort of like a charge shot. Plus you have secondary missiles that fire in front of you or above and below you. There's also a bunch of power-ups that you can acquire, which work sort of like your regular power-ups. Like they'll start shooting lasers and all kinds of weird stuff from your ship. There's even two little shields that you can get, which sort of protect the top and the bottom of the craft from enemy fire. Dux 1.5 also fixes a lot of issues with the original release, including a new instant respawn system. Apparently in the original, which I've never played, you had this cumbersome system where you had to actually select continue and then you started from a checkpoint or something like that. It could be completely wrong, as I never played the game, as I said. But here, when you die, you just instantly respawn right where you left off and you can continue. And that makes the game a lot easier to play. And in fact, I would go as far as saying that this is one of the best games to slowly ease you into shooters as a whole. Now, I heard the original release was extremely difficult, but this one, the first two levels are pretty good, and then it ramps up after that. And another thing I really enjoyed with this game is the fact that it's got this long journey aspect to it. Instead of just, you know, having, say, 3 lives or 6 lives or 5 lives or what have you, and dying and then entering your name and then continuing from there, your scores are only tallied once all of your continues are done and all of your ships have been used. That's an interesting system, and it gives the game a lot more depth. Also, the 1.5 revision fixes the controls. Apparently in the original didn't feature customizable controls. Now you do. While that's not such a big deal for those playing with the controller, it is a big deal if you're playing on the arcade stick, because you'll want the layout exactly as you want it. Graphics were very impressive. What you're seeing here is upscaled 480p connected to my TV via VGA, and I upscaled it to 720p, and it looked absolutely outstanding on the television. Sound effects are pretty standard fare, but the music is downright awesome. I'm pretty sure you can hear it. It's wicked. Now, one of the major complaints with the original game was the fact that it was very hard to differentiate between what was interactive in the environment, in other words, what did you have to dodge, and the bullets, and things that, you know, you could just fly right through. And while apparently that's been fixed to a great degree, I still found that a little hard to differentiate between areas of the stages where you could just fly right through and ones that you'll just crash into and explode. So I don't know how much work really went into that, but I had no problems with the bullets or anything like that. And once you play the levels once or twice, it's no longer an issue. You should be aware that some of the menu presentation is a little bland. There's not really much going on. You basically get a screen, a white screen with some text, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Now, that's pretty much the only negative thing I can say. I know there's only 6 levels, and it costs around $45 US dollars. But what you got to think is, this is an indie release. There's only a few people that worked on it, and the quality here is top-notch. If you have a Dreamcast, I highly recommend you support the indie scene because, well, you're going to continue to get more games just like this. Dux 1.5 comes highly recommended. For the full written review, hit up projectcoe.com.